Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing the very last list of Vivian Walker, written by Megan Albany. This is a very unique and engaging book. It's also a very challenging book. It will challenge a lot of readers, I think. It basically deals with death. So the whole theme of this story is about death, about the main character, how she deals with her impending death. And so that's what makes it very challenging and makes you kind of face death head on when you're reading this book. And it makes you ponder what you would be like in the same situation. It did for me. I thought, what would I do if I was in that position? How would I react? What would I focus on? What would be more important than other things? And as you see the main character Vivian go through that, you can't help thinking along those lines. So it is a very challenging read. It's a very interesting book as well, because there's such a mixture in this book of emotions. And I think it's a very special book. I do think you should give it a go. At the start of this book, we learn two things. Vivian Walker has cancer, and she's a list maker. We also learn that her cancer is not curable. It's progressed too far, and she only has a couple of months to live, 2 or 3 months. And so the whole book is about Vivian trying to make the most of that time. And she's making lists. She likes to make lists. And in her mind, she's trying to work out ways to improve the life of her husband and her son when she goes, make it easy for them to live still and get through life when she's gone. That seems to be one of the big themes in this book. Also, she's just trying to help those around her as well, come to terms with it, her friends and her family, and she's trying to just get through her days as well in this book. And we see her challenges. Some days she's got more energy, some days she hasn't. We see periods where she's in a lot of pain and how she goes through that. It's very in your face what happens to this character Vivian, and it just seems very real, very lifelike. And I get the sense that the author did a lot of research for this book, and because everything the character goes through, you can just imagine somebody doing that, acting in that way. Nothing feels forced at all in this book. But the focus of the book just isn't about Vivian. We also get some focus on her husband Clint, and we see chapters in his point of view. And there's a bit of focus on the son Ethan as well. And there are certain moments in this book that are very, very emotional, and it will kind of punch you in the guts. That's how emotional it is. I won't highlight any of those scenes because you'll lose the impact if you want to read this book. But there are key moments in this book where things kind of just slot into place, whether it's emotional, between characters, or whether it's just structural in their lives. Things kind of fall into place accidentally, not forced, and it takes Vivian by surprise. And it's those things in the book that are very emotional. There are quite a few moments in this book where Vivian's not easy to like. And that's where you get the feeling this character feels so lifelike, so human, because she's not perfect. She does do things, she does say things, act in certain ways that hurt other people, even in this book. So it's not always easy to like Vivian. You can't help but empathize with Vivian, but she's not always easy to like. So it's interesting to read the book and have that in your thoughts as well. Sometimes you'll just think, why is she acting like that? Why is she so mean to this person? There are other times where you think she's being wonderful and she's doing everything right. So very up and down with how I felt about Vivian in this book. But overall, I think this is framed around a few key messages about being happy with who you are and what you've done in your life, about cherishing all the moments and all the people in your life as well, and just about being there in the moment. I think they're the key themes in this book. And I'll probably carry those key themes, those key thoughts with me for a while after reading this, just as I'll carry Vivian in my mind, because Vivian is overall a very, very engaging character, and a very welcoming character. If you can say that about a character in fiction, you always get the sense that she welcomes you into this small part of her life. That's how I felt about this. I felt like I was just part of the family as I was reading this book. Vivian. We have to start with Vivian, being the main character, and the book's about her. The author did a superb job with this character. She's presented to us warts and all. And she's a character, like I said earlier, that's not easy to like all the time. She says things that are mean, she'll act in ways that are mean, that'll hurt people, but then she'll be very loving and caring. She's so vibrant, she bursts from the page as well in certain scenes. And even when, as the book progresses, where she gets more advanced with her cancer, she's still very vibrant. Her thoughts are very vibrant, even though her actions may not be. Her thoughts are still very vibrant. And her thoughts are given to us with no filter. She's a character that really has no filter. That's another aspect about Vivian that comes through in this book very strongly. Clint, who's Vivian's husband in this book, another good character, presented very well. He comes across as sometimes a bit clumsy, a bit forgetful, not a fool, but just a bit maybe of a larrikin, maybe someone who just doesn't really think about the big picture all the time, but is a very engaging and endearing character. And I did enjoy Clint a lot in this book. You get to see the love he has for Vivian and the warmth from Clint in this story, and this character is very complete. It feels very complete, and it feels very complex. And I enjoyed reading about Clint, and I enjoyed seeing Clint interact with other people in this book as well, because you get his complexity through those interactions with other people. Auntie Sugar, or Marsha, interesting character. I think she's put in there because she's a bit of comic relief, and it lightens some of the moments in this story. And I think you need that in this book. You need that bit of light and shade in this story to give us a balance. Otherwise, it would be a very, very dark and deep story the whole way through. So Auntie Sugar just gives us a bit of light, a bit of comedy, and she is very, very vibrant and loud. She's a huge character in this book, big personality. She pops in and out of their lives, but when she does pop in, she takes over everything. And you can just imagine her, someone with a loud voice, someone with big actions, likes to make a scene, be the center of attention. That's Auntie Sugar. And the character is written in a very clever way, and you can picture someone like that in this story when you're reading it. So I think a good character, a much needed character. I think the author was clever in the way Auntie Sugar was brought in and out in certain scenes of the book. So it wasn't overdone, it didn't feel forced, it just felt like the right balance. The very last list of Vivian Walker is a very special book, and I do recommend it to everybody. I understand that it's not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody wants a main character who's dying, and a book that's based on that. That's perfectly understandable. But if you think you can read it, I think give it a go, because the character is very special. The way the author wrote this is just wonderful. And I think it would take a lot of courage to write a book like this, and also inject it with moments of humour and light, not always make it serious, and also present the character sometimes as being unlikable. And I thought that was very clever and very well done. I rate this a 4 out of 5. I think it's a debut novel, and I'll be very interested in the future of reading more by the same author, because I think this book is very well written, well crafted, and I can just imagine that this author would write many books that are going to be even better than this one. On my channel, I review books from all different genres. Check out the channel, because I'm sure you'll find something you like.